I'd finally set out to make my mark. To find adventure. But instead, adventure found me.
Lara Croft is one of the most iconic video game characters in history. But the series had kind of gone downhill since it made its debut in the mid-90s, and while it certainly set a lot of standards for platforming in the action-adventure genre, it was in desperate need of a reboot. So how did the new one hold up? Let's take a look. In the reboot, you're again stepping into the boots of Lara Croft, but this time you're not the badass that we've come to know over years and years.
But instead, a scrappy, unsure of herself version of Lara that's just starting out on her own adventures.
Of course, it wouldn't be adventure if everything went smoothly, and right after you start the game, Lara gets shipwrecked and has to figure out where she is and what she's going to do to find her friends. One of the nice things about the reboot is most of the supporting cast aren't really that annoying. You would be tempted to think that, but the voice acting is really solid throughout the entire game.
How many are there? I don't know.
Are you hurt?
I couldn't see anyone. Must have scared them off. Feel like I've run for miles.
You really start to develop an emotional bond with a lot of these characters. It's a lot of fun, and they really do a lot to enrich the Tomb Raider experience. But it can't all be about plot either. Tomb Raider has an amazing gameplay system to it. It's linear, but not so much so that you feel like you can't explore it all. Lara will still climb, jump, and of course duke it out in combat with her enemies.
Alright, try now. How many generators is this? What the?
Lara has a variety of moves at her disposal that keep combat consistently thrilling and enjoyable to watch.
Although combat this time around is absolutely brutal. You could make the argument there's a little bit too much quick time in it, but it works to great effect because the animation just looks so good.
Die, you son of a bitch!
Also, despite the fact that it does sometimes feel a little bit linear, there are a ton of collectibles, so there's a lot of replay value in this game, between audio logs that you find, to a variety of different collectibles throughout the island, to hidden tombs abound. Talking about the hidden tombs for a second, they actually feel like a really nice addition. They're there, but you don't have to complete them if you don't want to, and you can just kind of charge ahead on with the story if you'd like. There's also a lot of flexibility in the way that you approach combat. Because you're often out in the jungle, you can choose whether you'd like to use the bow, guns, or if you just want to go all out and just get into fistfights with the characters, you can totally do that. While the guns are a little bit tedious and don't seem overly interesting, the fact that you have such a deep customization and incentive to keep upping Lara's experience kind of gives you incentive to try them out at least. Also, when I said earlier that it's brutal, it absolutely is. Lara has things done to her that are just absolutely horrific, and you really start to feel just horrible for her that on her kind of debut outing as an adventurer that she has to suffer such indignities. But it really does go a long way towards setting the sobering tone of the game and enriching the story overall.
Brother! Now I'm gonna kill you!
While the combat is thrilling, unfortunately the final battle is a little bit weak compared to the rest of the game. But that still shouldn't dissuade you because the game is fun for the 10 to 12 hours it'll take you to complete it. At the end of the day, the fun story, return to form, and incredible combat and animation is what makes this game worth playing through. So if you have the chance to check it out, you absolutely should, because Tomb Raider will not disappoint.